See, people who do japa come to me and ask me, is japa the best path for self realization? Then there are people who meditate on a certain devata, on Vishnu, let's say Vishnu or Shiva, and they are confused. Should I worship Vishnu? Should I worship Shiva? What is the right path? Some people study the teachings of Adi Shankaracharya, and then they try to meditate on the Mahavakyas, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma, and they think this is the right way. They wonder if this is the right path. Some other people surrender to God and they sing kirtans and they sing devotional songs for God. So there are a lot of different paths to attain self-realization. But what is the first step? What is the second step? What is the third step? How are we led to the path of self-realization? How are we led towards moksha? This is only Upadesa Saram. In Upadesa Saram, Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi gives the entire spiritual path in 30 verses. Explains the entire spiritual path in 30 verses, whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti, Raja Yoga, or Jnana Marga. All the yogas are expressed clearly. So anybody, no matter if you are on the path of Dhyana, Gnana, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma, any doubts you have, be sure that Upadesha Saram will clear your doubts.
You are watching Reflections on Reality, presented by Kanchi.
In Arunachala Kshetra, in the town of Tiruvannamalai, on the foothills of the mountain, a great poet lived. See, in the past couple of 100 years, we have heard of many poets, the Sanskrit scholars, Sanskrit poets, English, we have Shakespeare, right? We have heard of a lot of these poets and kavis, so to say. But not many people are aware of Muruganar. Muruganar was a devotee, a disciple of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. But Sri Muruganar, we don't know if he was a greater devotee or a greater poet. Right? His works are amazing. See, in the times of yore, these kings would have great poets in their court. So they would have scholars and they would have poets and they would have wrestlers and all kinds of different people with great skills in the court of the kings. Similarly, in the court of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, when we say court, it was just his room. He had a lot of disciples from all facets of life. So we had kings who would come and became his disciples, his devotees. There are many people who sought his diksha. There were people from around the world who came to seek, whether historians, whether politicians. Everybody were his disciples and devotees, and they wanted to find what he was giving. Right? They wanted to get diksha from him. One such person came to Bhagavan, and that is Sri Muruganar. See, Muruganar is that devotee, you can say, is the foremost of devotees, right? And is the foremost of poets. Not many people have heard of Muruganar, or people who are familiar with, Tamil language. If they read his poetry, they will realize that he is not an ordinary soul. He is not an ordinary, poet. But he lived his entire life in humility at the feet of Bhagavan. He never sought fame or claimed any greatness. Anyway, so Muruganar was writing a piece. Was composing a poem on Shiva. So what happened is, in the Darukavana, there is a very famous story about Lord Shiva. In the Darukavana, Daruka is Deodar. So Deodar forest, all these Rishis were, doing like yagnas and all of that. And for many years. And they were seeking the fruits of the yagnas, right? So Parvati, who is Shiva's consort, Shiva's wife, Devi Parvati, out of her compassion, she told Shiva that these people have been, doing yagnas and doing all these things for many years, but they have not, attained the self. I feel they are lost. They are lost in the Karmakanda. So she requested Shiva to go and enlighten them. Out of her compassion, she told Shiva that your devotees should not be abandoned. Please go and enlighten them. So Shiva came to this forest, to Darukavana. So when he came to the Darukavana, he was dressed as for this form of Shiva is called Bhikshitana. Bhikshitana is like a beggar, right? But he was a Kapali. So he was holding a human skull. He had matted hair. He had ashes, and he came naked. So these Kapalis, they roam around the world naked, and Shiva is the god of these Kapalis. So he came to this forest when these rishis were doing yajnas, naked, besmeared with ashes, and carrying a skull, a garland of skulls. And they say he was also the sylvan flowers, the wild flowers around his neck as garlands. So when he entered the forest, these women, the Rishikas and the wives of the Rishis, they were enamored by this young man. Because see, Shiva, no matter how ferocious his exterior is, he is called Sundareshwara. Right? He is Sundara, he is beautiful. He is the epitome of beauty. Right? So when Shiva entered the forest, the wives were enamored by him, and they, immediately they were attracted to Shiva. Seeing this, the rishis got very wild, and they wanted to punish him. They didn't know who it was, and they wanted to punish him. So in order to punish him, they were followers of the yagnas and all that, right? So they tried to invoke some energies from the yagna to attack Shiva. See, Shiva is the source of all energies. What energy can attack him? Energy is Shakti. All Shaktis are arising from him. So when this happened, first they threw a snake, they threw a tiger, so the story goes they did many things to attack Shiva. And then they realized that he cannot be attacked. And out of the rishis, there was one Pativrate. Pativrate is like the wife of Atri and the mother of Dattatreya. So this woman is Anusuya, right? She was the wife of Atri Maharshi. And she recognized, and she told her husband and she told the other rishis that, do not fight him. You cannot touch him. This is Shiva. This is Shiva himself. So hearing about this, then the rishis, realized their folly, and they desisted from attacking him further. So, but why the rishis were doing yagna is because they wanted to find out, they wanted the answer to the, what is the final attainment and what is the path to attain moksha, right? So they wanted to know whether through yagnas, whether karma kanda is final or whether gnana is final or whether bhakti is final. What is the right way to attain self-realization? This is why they were even doing the yagna. So they wanted answers from the devatas. They wanted answers from Shiva himself. And Shiva gave them the answer. Shiva told them, what is the method of self-realization. And Muruganar was writing a poem about this. So he wrote this entire action, what happens. The rishis are doing the yagna. They have a debate amongst themselves about karma and bhakti and Raj Yoga, all these things. And then when they were having this and they did the yagna, finally he wrote the entire thing, but he desisted, he stopped writing when it came to Shiva's words. What are Shiva's enlightening words that illumined the minds of the rishis? Right? He said, I should not write this. Even as a poet, though he himself, you can say, is a gnani, but because his guru was in front of him, he said, I should not write this. What Shiva has given the rishis should come from the mouth of Shiva himself. Right? Shiva himself should write his words. Shiva himself should tell what is the path. And how will Shiva tell what is the path? Who is Shiva? Here, for Muruganar and for all disciples or whoever has come in contact with Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, they know that Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, that body might be a frail body living in Tiruvannamalai, but nobody had any doubt that this was Arunachala himself. Arunachala is Shiva. So nobody had any doubts that this person, this being who appeared as Ramana Maharshi is none other than Shiva himself. The power with which he was vibrating and the energy with which he was giving grace to all beings. People who came in contact with him would realize the self in a few moments. So when such power was, continuously this grace was pouring forth, there was no doubts in the mind of Muruganar also. So he requested Ramana Maharshi and he said, please Bhagavan, please give me the verses or Please narrate the verses that you told the Rishis of yore. And this in Darukavana. Darukavana basically is Chidambaram. See, Chidambaram in Tamil Nadu, that is the place where Shiva is supposed to have given Diksha to the Rishis, right? And that is the place of the Nataraja, right? Just as he has given the teaching, just as Shiva gave teachings to the Rishis, Muruganar said, please, once more, for the sake of humanity, give us these teachings. And these teachings are the 30 verses called Upadesa Saram. Upadesha Saram can be broadly divided into 5 parts. The first part, verses 1 to 4, is the Karma Marga. Right? What is karma? All that. From 5 to 10 is Bhakti Marga, broadly speaking. Right? He speaks about Bhakti between the verses 5 to 10. And from 11 to 15, it is Raja Marga. Right? Raja Marga is how to control the mind, how to control the breath, all these things. From 15 to 20 is Jnana Marga, right? Ending with Atma Vichara. And from 20 to 30 is what is Jnana? What is Mokshapada? What is the state of realization? What is the state of moksha? See, when Shiva himself tells you what is the state of moksha, you should hear. Right? When a realized master speaks about the state of realization, when he speaks about his own inner state, he is not talking from the books or scriptures. He is describing his own state. Right? So we are blessed to hear these words from the master, and let us dig into it. Right? The first verse goes, see, I will try to combine some verses sometimes. Sometimes I will read verse by verse. So it depends on the flow of the video. So kindly bear with me. Karturagnaya prapyate phalam karma kimparam karma tajjadam. By the will of the creator, the fruits of actions are realized. How can it be supreme? Right? In the first verse, Bhagavan dismisses the path of Bhagavan dismisses karma as final. He says karma tajjadam. Jadam is inert. When karma is inert, how can it be final? Because why does he say it is inert? It is only by the kartur. Kartur is the creator. Only by the will of the creator, karma is created. Right? Only by the will of the creator, the fruits of actions are realized. Suppose you do something, immediately do you get the fruits of the action? No. It is said that that Ishvara, Kartur, through his Agna is through his command only the fruits are given. Right? Otherwise, if 4 people are doing the same thing, all 4 people should get the same result. Why 4 people are not getting the same result? Right? Out of 4 people, each person will have a slightly different quality to his result. Right? It could be delayed. It could come faster, whatever the fruits of the action is. So when we say the fruits are realized only by the will of the creator. So karma is jadam. Jadam is inert. If karma is inert, then it is not final. Right? So karma marga just by itself is not final. Just doing karma, just actions is not enough. To attain the self, action, just acting daily is not enough. Just if you meditate, if you do seva, if you forget about the world, it's not enough. By actions, you will not attain the self. Kriti mahodadau patana karanam falama shashvatam gati nirodhakam. Kriti is action. Mahodadau is the great ocean. Patana karanam is the cause of downfall. Right? And gati nirodhakam is obstruction of progress. So the result of actions are impermanent. Right? The result of actions are impermanent. We know this. See, whatever happiness you get from any action, it is impermanent. And then once you get the action, again you are attached to the fruit of the action. You say, this happiness I want to hold. Right? Suppose you are in embrace with your wife or your girlfriend. The resulting happiness in that is temporary. As soon as she gets up and goes, again you are sad. Right? So the fruits of actions are, if you eat a good meal, you are happy only for half an hour or 1 hour or whatever. And after that, what happens? Again you get hungry, again you have to eat. This is the law of nature. This is the law of impermanence. So it is said that this leads to bondage. This karma and dependence on the fruits of karma leads to bondage, and it is an impediment to self-realization. It is an impediment to liberation. Gati Nirodhakam. Gati is that the finality. Nirodhakam is that which stops, which impedes the progress. Right? So the fruits of actions impedes progress. It does not help you attain the self. Ishwararpitam na ichchaye kritam chitta shodakam mukti sadakam. So now Bhagavan gives an answer. He says, when actions are causing bondage, then should we not act? So any action you do, if you are saying it is causing bondage, then how do we act? The answer is Ishwararpitam. Surrender your actions, surrender the fruits of your actions to Ishvara. Right? Selfless action is the answer, without desire. Why is this the answer? Because it purifies the mind. Chitta Shodakam. Shodaka is purification, Chitta is our Antakarana, our inner world, right? Our consciousness is purified by desireless action. So the answer is given in verse 3 only. Third verse, Bhagavan says, Chitta Shodakam Mukti Sadakam. By purifying the Chitta, you will attain Mukti. So how to purify Shuddha is to act freely, act without anger, hatred, aversion, repulsion, all these things, greed. Act freely, and all your actions, all the fruits of your actions also is Shivarpitam, Ishwararpitam, Krishnarpitam, whatever your Devata is. Right? In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says the same thing. Yes. Karmanya Vadikaraste. We know the verse. Right? So this is exactly the teachings of Bhagavan also. Kayavan mana karyamuttamam pujanam japas chintanam kramat. So now he says, among the actions of the mind, body and speech, what is uttama? What is better than the other? Better than the previous one. So in ascending order, he says worship, japa and dhyana. In that order are superior to the preceding one. So the first thing is, when you do puja at home, is puja greater than japa? No, because puja is done with the body, right? You do the dhupa and you do diya and all these things. They're not telling these are not useful. Puja has to be done. See, if you're doing puja, or if you have the desire to worship your devatas at home, to your worship God at home, feel free to worship. But puja is done with the body, right? So body is a grosser element, a grosser state of expression. Next comes vak, right? Vak is speech. Through speech, what do you do? You do japa, you chant prayers, you chant the mantras of the Upanishads or of the Vedas, Veda Samhitas. You chant Gayatri. All these things are called japa. So japa, of course, is superior to worship. Worship can be done with chanting also, but chanting on a very physical realm is at one level. Next level is japa, and then they say dhyana. So is dhyana better than japa? That is not the meaning. In japa there is dhyana. When you meditate on the devata of your mantra, suppose I am saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now the speech is going. Speech is just because you say Om Namah Shivaya, you will not attain the self. In this speech, when you meditate on Shiva, and the mind is attracted to the devata there, and you're meditating on that, you're using the application. So basically application of mind, right? So we have the physical body, and then we have the speech, vak, and then the manas. So anything done with manas is higher than what is done with speech. Anything done with speech is higher than what is done with the physical body. Among the actions of body, speech and mind, worship, chanting and meditation are superior in an ascending order. Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. Serving the world as God, seeing it as the eightfold manifestation, is true worship. Serving the world as God, right? Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam. Yukta is with devotion, devoted to the world. Sevanam is doing seva, is service, right? Ashtamurti Brit Deva Pujanam. Ashtamurti is 8 gods. So who are these 8 gods? Serve the world as if you are looking at the manifestation of the 8 gods. The whole world is manifestation of the 8 gods. Now we have heard of 3 gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Now we have heard of 33 gods also. Who are these 8 gods now? What are the new thing, right? So in the physical world, the physical manifestation of devatas is eightfold. What is the eightfold manifestation? We have the 5 elements, right? Sky, that is called Dew in this context. Fire, Agni. Prithvi, that is earth element. Then we have Apas or Varuna. Varuna is the devata of Apas. And we have Vayu, right? Vayu devata. Vayu is the devata of wind energy or air, right? So we have the 5 manifestations. And then we have the physical expression of these manifestations. We see Surya, that is Aditya, right? We see the sun god. And then Soma. Soma is Chandra. And also that which is the essence of all the elements in the world, that which gives the essence to everything is Soma. So we have Surya, Chandra, and we have Surya, Soma, and the nakshatras. Nakshatras are the constellations we see in the sky. So when we open our eyes on a daily basis, we open our eyes, look at the world around, everything is only manifestation of this. Other than this, you can't show me a 9th god. What is the 9th god? There are no 9 gods. There's only 8. So 8 is what? The 5 elements, sun, moon, and the stars. Other than this, nothing is there. Anything that, whether it's a human body, whether it's an animal, whether it's anything, everything is made up of 5 elements, right? So what Bhagavan is saying is, this is true worship, looking everything with the equal eye. See, everything is with your mother and father are also made of 5 elements. Your worst enemy also is made of 5 elements, right? People of your country are also made of 5 elements. People of other country also, other religion, other caste, whatever you want to look at. So there is no differentiation. The way you perceive yourself, you will perceive the world. This is only, he's saying, true worship. See, this he's saying is Deva Pujanam, Jagata Ishadi, Yukta Sevanam, Ashtamurti Brat, Deva Pujanam. So he says this is only puja. This is only worship. Looking at everybody with equal vision is only worship. Nothing else. Looking at everybody with equal vision is worship. Uttamastavad, Uchamandatha, Chittajam Japa, Dhyanam Uttamam. Singing praises is good, but better is soft chanting. Superior to that is mental meditation. So now we have come to the Bhakti Marga. This is the 6th verse. In the Bhakti Marga, people are singing kirtans. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja, Mudamane. People are singing, and people are singing Vishnu Sahasranama. Right? You are chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. Loudly people are chanting. They are not saying it is bad. It is very good. It purifies the Antakarana, it purifies the consciousness. But better than Kirtan is Japa, right? In Japa, louder is good, better than louder is soft, right? And better than soft is Antar, right? Silent chanting. So this is what he is telling. Singing, and then loud chanting, Madhyama, medium chanting. More than medium is inside chanting without opening your lips, means internal chanting. Instead of saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. There are some traditions who say other people should hear your chanting. You are only creating noise for others. See, because what your feeling is, we should not impose our what we are doing on others. So we should not intrude into their space. So there are people sitting around you in a car or in a bus. You go around singing. It's good. I'm not telling it is bad. But it is better if it is internal, because it has to be done with bhakti. It is not done with the impression that you want to impress others. You want them to follow your path. We are not for that, right? So Bhagavan has given the steps on that. Kirtana, loud chanting, Madhyama, and then inside, internal. This is the krama for japa. This is the method for japa. These are the levels of japa. Ajyadharaya, Shrotasa Samam, Sarala Chintanam, Viralataparam. So Ajyadharaya is like a steady stream of, Ajya is like ghee. So Ajya is what you put for the havan. For when you are doing a homa, doing fire ablutions, you give ajya. Ajya is generally ghee, right? Shrotasa samam, like a reverse flow. Sarala chintanam means simple, uncomplicated, uninterrupted meditation is better than viralata param. Viralata is very intense, but for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. See, when you meditate for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's good. It is not bad. But better than that is Sarala Chintana. Simple, uncomplicated way. Throughout the day, whenever you're sitting, whatever your meditation is, whether you do japa, whether you're doing some chintana, contemplation, uninterrupted contemplation. Like how ghee is fed to a lamp, or how a flow of river is there, right? How ghee is absorbed by the lamp, or how a river's flow is there. Similarly, your meditation should be continuous, should not stop. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, very high intensity. See, this is all good for physical exercises. When you're doing physical exercises, high intensity training, getting your heart rate up, these are all very good in that context. In the spiritual context, even here 20 minutes if you are doing it's good, but you have to continue that 20 minutes. If you're doing 1 hour meditation daily, that is good, but you have to continue that 1 hour meditation throughout the day, uninterrupted, sarala. No, not, you don't need heavy intensity or anything. Uninterruptedly. If I'm meditating on myself, saying, okay, this is myself, or let's say I'm meditating on Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, right? Just meditate on that Tattvamasi. Contemplate on that throughout the day, whenever possible, with uninterrupted flow, right? Bheda bhavana, sohamityasau, bhavanabhita, pavani matha. So, feeling of duality is Bheda Bhavana, right? Soham is I am he, right? Such meditation without division is considered purifying. So, in meditation, now we are telling, okay, meditate uninterruptedly. So, what is meditation? So, when we meditate, let's say I'm meditating on Shiva. I meditate on Shiva. Where is Shiva? Shiva is sitting in Kailasa. Shiva has got his mudras. He's got his Trishula. His Nandi is nearby. Right? I picture him on Mount Kailash. And then I'm thinking he is very purifying. He is amazing Devata. This is Bheda Bhavana. Because he is away from me. Where is Shiva? Shiva is in Kailasa. There is differentiation. Who am I? Who is Shiva? Shiva is somebody. I am here. So this is Bheda Bhavanat. Better than this is, where is Shiva? Shiva is within me. Shiva is my own self. What is Shiva? Shiva is Paramatma. Atma is what? My own self. Meditating like this. Soham. I am only Shiva. Shivoham, Shivoham. Right? So this is better than saying Shiva is somewhere else, Shiva is someone else, and I am his, devotee. It's okay to start like that, but the goal of that meditation is to get rid of Bheda Bhavana. Bheda should have become Abheda. There should be no Bheda Bhavanam. It should become one. Oneness with Shiva. Communion with Shiva. This is only yoga. Right? Bheda Bhavanam Soham Ityasau. Bhavanabhida Pavani Mata. Pavani Mata is this is purifying. This will purify you. Union with Shiva, right, will purify you. Bhava Shunya Sad. Bhava Sustiti. Bhavana Balad, Bhaktir Uttamam. So, Bhava Shunya, abidance in the thought-free state of true being is supreme devotion. Now, Bhakti. What is the highest pada? What is Bhakti pada? What is the highest state of Bhakti? What is the highest state of devotion? See, when we think of the highest state of devotion, think of people screaming in the temple and saying Shiva, Shiva, and falling and losing consciousness. This is okay. I'm not mocking them or anything. But when you lose that consciousness or when you go into samadhi, what happens? That peak of emotion, you transcend emotion. Right? So what is that called? It is called Bhava Shunya. Bhava Shunya is zero emotions, zero bhavana. You have somehow transcended emotion by going to the peak of it. Right? So in the previous verse, Bhagavan says, I am He. This is very good. This communion with Shiva is very good. I am He. Soham or Shivoham is very good. Don't meditate with differentiation between yourself and your Ishtadevata. Don't meditate with any difference between you and Atma. I am Atma. Atma is somewhere else. I am somebody else. No. I am Atma when we say I am only Atma. Right? I am Atma Brahma. Tattvamasi. That is this only. It's not something separate. Now he says Bhavashunya, which is this is higher than even Shivoham. Because in Shivoham, there is a thought that I am He. See, you want to say Shivoham, you need thought process. What is the thought process? In this, two things exist. I exist and He exists. When they combine together, it should be like internal combustion. I also don't exist, He also doesn't exist. It becomes one. There is no sense of separation at all. This is called Bhavashunya. So, abidance. It's not just transcending emotion for a split second. Abidance in this state. This is only samadhi. And Bhagavan is saying samadhi itself is bhakti. Because there is a lot of debate. People think bhakti marga is somewhere and gnana marga is somewhere else. They are one and the same. Right? Transcendence of emotions happens in gnana marga also. It happens in bhakti marga also. Transcendence, abidance is one and the same. Complete surrender is only transcendence. It is not thinking I am Shiva. This is what people misunderstand. People on the Bhakti Marga misunderstand this about Adi Shankara's teachings also. He's saying he is only Shiva. So he is just arrogant. It is to see when there is in the ocean, there are bubbles, there are waves, there is foam. All of it is water. Similarly, in this ocean, this samsara, all of it is Shiva only. Right? The water, the foam, the bubble, the wave, everything is Shiva. So there is no separation. It's not that I am Shiva and I am great. If somebody is considering himself individually, thinking only I am Shiva, others are not Shiva, then it is not that. Here it is explained. Everything is that same Devata. Everything is Shiva. So in that, thinking yourself to be separate is ego. I am an individual. I need to worship. I am a great devotee. This is ego. Right? Whether it's bhakti or gnana, surrendering of the ego is important. Surrendering and merging. And abidance in that state of being. Right? That is only bhavashunya. Abidance in the thought-free state of true being is uttama bhakti. It is the highest bhakti. It is the greatest bhakti. Ritsthale mana swasthata kriya bhakti yoga bodhascha nishchitam. Ritsthale is the heart, mana is the mind, swasthata is resting, kriya is action, bhakti yoga bodha is devotion, union, communion and knowledge, and nishchitam is certain. Fixing the mind in the heart is karma, is bhakti, is raja yoga and knowledge, is gnana. Right? So in verse 10, Bhagavan has described all the four margas. So this is where they all combine. This is where they all, meet at crossroads, and they are all in their own place and they are comfortable, and it is the finality. What is the finality? Fixing the mind in the heart. See, what is the mind and what is the heart? We are not talking about the physical heart, and we are not talking about the brain. The mind is the ego. It will be explained in the next few verses, but the mind basically is the ego, and heart is the heart of all things, the heart of everything. The heart is Atman. It is not the physical heart, but it is the heart of the universe. It is called a Ritsthale. In this context, he calls it Ritsthale. Right? Resting the mind in Ritsthale is only all the four paths, whether it is karma, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Marga. Vayurodhanal liyate mana jala pakshavid rodha sadhanam. Through breath control, the mind becomes calm like a bird caught in a net. Vayurodhanat is breath control. Basically, in this context, he's not calling it pranayama, he's calling it Vayurodhanat. So, the mind is like a free bird otherwise. What is free bird? It's nothing wrong with being a free bird. But if you don't know where your home is, you will keep flying, you will get tired, you will fall somewhere. So, similarly, our mind is always flying, it is always running away. It is jumping from one branch to another. So, Swami Vivekananda had said, the mind is like a drunken monkey jumping from branch to branch, but this drunken monkey is bitten by a scorpion. So imagine a drunken monkey bitten by a scorpion. going haywire. This is exactly the state of mind for all beings. Even you, if you look at yourself, can we always control our thoughts? We're doing one thing, but our mind is going somewhere else. The situation, when a tough situation arises and we have to think clearly with clarity, be relaxed. Where is the mind? How is it behaving? It is not, it is contrary to what it needs to do. It is all over the place, right? So you have to restrain the mind. Bhagavan is telling us. There are some modern teachers who have told in the last maybe 50, 100 years, modern Advaitins, they say the mind need not be controlled. Trying to control the mind is only, the problem. If you try to control the mind, you will go mad. All these things are there. But even the Upanishads talk about this, and even Maharshi, that is Ramana Maharshi, talks about this. You cannot just go on fulfilling desires. You cannot go on just listening to whatever the mind says. It is a bottomless pit, right? Fulfilling your desires or listening to the mind continuously, whatever the mind tells, is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water or the water of the ocean. The water is all around. Similarly, the mind can go on continuously. Water is endless in the ocean, right? But can you quench your thirst with that water? Similarly, whatever the mind says, if you keep listening to that, you cannot live in this samsara. Can you quench your thirst with that? You will get more and more thirsty and you will suffer because of this, right? So, restraining the mind is important. How do we restrain the mind? Bhagavan has given the path for that. He says, he's given the method, says pranayama, vayurodhana, hold the thought. The next few verses we will know how to hold the thought also, right? So hold that thought, hold the mind, restrain the mind with the help of pranayama. Chitta vayavas, chit kriyayuta, sakayordvai, shakti mulaka. The mind and the breath originate from the same source and are interconnected like two branches of a tree. So the mind and the breath, if you noticed, see when you are breathing, with every new breath there is a new thought. The mind and the breath are connected. So when we have a lot of thoughts, if you notice your mind, your breath also will be haywire. Suppose you are having a panic attack. Suppose you're angry and you want to spit out, you want to scream. You will see that the breath and the thought are always together. They are like two branches of the same tree. They are like brothers, twin brothers. So the root of the mind and the breath is the same. When the breath arises, the mind arises. That's why when we go into samadhi, there is suspension of breath also. See, in the state of samadhi, there is suspension of breath. When there is suspension of breath, there is no thoughts. There are no thoughts. When the breath arises, in the waking state, in the dream state, whenever the breath arises, thoughts also arise. So if you control one, you control the other. If you control the breath, if you restrain the breath, you can control the mind. This is the secret. This is the secret tool. Because if you try to grab on the mind directly, it is very difficult. Because mind will take you into, more illusions. You will think about something, then something else, some other thoughts. You cannot grab thought. So the tool given in the Upanishads also, and which is told by Bhagavan also, is instead of directly attacking the mind, you can apply yourself and try to focus on the breath and try to restrain the breath. Through breath, you can restrain the mind. Laya vinashane, ubhaya rodhane, laya gatam punar, bhavati no mritam. The mind subdued through dissolution, that is laya. Laya vinashane is destruction through dissolution. The mind subdued through dissolution may rise again, but once destroyed, it never returns. Right? So, what is laya? When we go to sleep, see, you might be in a lot of pain, or you might be very distressed, or you might be very anxious, or sad, or depressed. But in deep sleep, what happened to that? Suppose you are mourning, you're in grief, you go and you sleep. In deep sleep, you are not crying. What happened? Why are you not crying in deep sleep? That is the state of laya. Everybody experiences this. No matter how excited you are about life, right? You won the Nobel Peace Prize, or you got the girl of your dreams to marry, or whatever it is. You got a job promotion. You are very excited. You have a new child. You've given birth to a child. Whatever excitement is there, when you go to sleep, in laya, in sleep, that excitement is gone. fear is gone, anger is gone, whatever is there, the mind is completely, it does not exist there. But next day when you wake up, the moment you wake up, all these thoughts again come into your life. Why? The mind only subsides for a brief moment in laya. It is suspended, right? It is not destroyed the mind. You have to destroy the mind for true happiness. See, the happiness of sleep, we all want the happiness of sleep. Otherwise, we will not sleep. Sleep is sarvaroga nivaraka. If you go to sleep, all the rogas, as in all the diseases of the body, the mind, everything you forget in deep sleep. So it is a state of pleasant, happiness. It is a state of peace. If it was a negative state, then we will not want to sleep. Why does everybody want to sleep? See, the richest man in the world also will take out all this, jewelry, clothes, whatever it is, and go to sleep. Like the rich man and the poorest man on earth, the richest man and the poorest man on earth will sleep the same way. In deep sleep, there is no difference. So why would a rich man choose that? Because that is true riches, right? In laya also you will attain bliss, you will attain peace. But we cannot retain it. It comes back as soon as you get up. Again, all the thoughts come back, all the sadness, all the pain, all the daily living, it comes back and it troubles you. So the way is not laya, the way is not sleep, or the way is not suspension of life. In hibernation also, there are certain kinds of samadhi where you can do this. You can suspend life for 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. There is a very beautiful story where a person asks his disciple to give him a glass of water. Right? He says, I'm thirsty, give me a glass of water. And this person is going into samadhi. Before going into samadhi, he asks his disciple, give me a glass of water. But by the time the disciple can bring the water, this guy goes into samadhi. Right? 25 years is in samadhi. After 25 years, he opens his eyes and all his disciple is grown up, he's grown older. Other people are around him. They're all waiting to see what this man will say, what this wise man will say. After 25 years, he opens his eyes and he says, where is my water? I'm thirsty. Right? Similarly, this is called Jada Samadhi. There are many people who go underground, cover this and go into Samadhi, or they go underwater. There are many different types of Samadhis. But that is only laya, that is only hibernation. You will not attain the self with this. You will not purify yourself with this. Right? Purva samskaras, whatever vasanas, whatever tendencies are in the body, in the thing. If you have lust will be very well guarded within you. It is not a way for self-realization. Right? That's why Bhagavan says that is not the way for self-realization. Vinashane, not laya. Laya vinashane. Only when this laya is destroyed, only when the mind is destroyed, it does not go into laya, it is destroyed. Then it will not return again. Then the pain will not return again. There is no pain for a person who has destroyed the root of the mind. When we say mind, it is not destruction of our consciousness. It is only destruction of ahankara. Ahankara is ego. See, whenever we say destruction of the mind, we are only saying destruction of the ahankara or the ego. When you destroy that, the rest of it can exist, right? You can still see forms around you and recognize cognition, all those things are there. We're not against cognition of things or things like that. Only the wrong cognition. When we see something, when we see a person and we see hate, when we are seeing that with, distress or with lust, this is what causes the problem. That person by himself does not cause the problem. Prana bandhanat, leena manasam, eka chintanat, nasham yatyadaha. Through breath control, the mind is subdued. But only through single pointed concentration, it completely is destroyed. Eka chintana, single pointed concentration, or chintana is contemplation. Right? So by breath control, the mind can be subdued. See, a wild monkey can become tamed, it will be tamed by the breath control, by pranayama. But only through single pointed concentration can the mind be destroyed. So when we meditate, let's say I'm meditating on Atman. I'm meditating on Atman. I can do pranayama and restrain the mind and all these things. And I will feel bliss. I will feel a sense of happiness. I will feel a sense of peace. But this is only temporary. As long as your prana is subdued, as long as you are subduing your prana, your mind is subdued. As long as you are restraining the breath, your mind is subdued. Again, once the prana again goes back and you're not subduing it, again the mind becomes chaotic. So it is temporary peace. It is not true peace. So if you're doing breath work, you will attain good peace, and it is a good platform for you to meditate and go deeper into your sadhana. But it is not enough by itself. For this, ekachintanat, whatever your path is, whatever your object of meditation is, ekachintanat, meditating on it single pointed. Only with this can you destroy the mind. Only with this can you destroy the ego. You cannot, there is no laya with this. There is vinashane, mano vinashane. Nashtamanaso trikshta yogina krityamashtikim swasthitim yataha. For the exalted yogi whose mind is destroyed, what action remains? He abides in the self effortlessly. So when you attain this, what is remaining? See, once you destroy the mind, only one action is, Bhagavan says only one action is needed. What is that action? Destruction of the mind. Once that mind is destroyed, what else does a yogi have to attain? There is nothing to be attained. Everything is attained with this. He says, with this, only one impediment is there for the mind to rest in the self. The mind to rest in the self, there is only one impediment, that is ego, that is ahankara. So destruction of the mind, you abide in the self effortlessly. Self-abidance happens effortlessly. There is no other impediment. There is nobody coming and stopping you from abiding as the self. Even now, what stops you from realizing the self or abiding as yourself? Is there anything stopping you? There is no force in the world that can stop you except your own mind. And for a brief moment, try to look at your own self and try to abide as you are. There is something that pulls you out. Right? That's something that pulls you out, that stops you from abidance. That is only ego. Destruction of that ego is the only thing necessary. Drishyavaritam chittamatmanaha chitta darshanam tattva darshanam. Now we have entered the Jnana Marga. Right? Drishyavaritam chittamatmanaha chitta darshanam tattva darshanam. So what is Bhagavan talking about here? He's talking about pratyahara. And the attention is withdrawn from the objects. And the attention is withdrawn from the senses. This is only pratyahara. Pratyahara is withdrawal of the senses. So when you withdraw your senses from the objects of senses, that which you touch, right? So you can hear, you can see something, you can hear something, you can touch something, you can smell something, you can taste something. So the mind is withdrawn from this sensory perception and it goes within. Now he says pratyahara is necessary. When we do this, he says the essence of the mind is revealed. When we practice pratyahara or withdrawal of the senses, the essence of the mind, right? Chitta is consciousness. Consciousness reveals itself to you. Essence of the mind is consciousness. He says this chitta reveals itself to you. And chitta darshanam is tattva darshanam. What he is saying, tattva is what? Tattva is the truth. What is chitta? Chitta is your own consciousness. He is saying, seeing your consciousness as it is, he is seeing the self. He is seeing Atman, Paramatma, is Brahman. Tattva is the truth. He is realizing the truth. There is nothing else. So in this, there is non-differentiation between chitta and tattva. Chitta is only tattva. Tattva is truth. Chittva darshanam, tattva darshanam. Looking at your own self is looking at truth, is looking at the supreme reality of the universe, of the cosmos. Manasam tukim margane krita naiva manasam marga arjavat. When the mind is inquired into, it is found to have no existence. This realization is the direct path to the truth. Now, Bhagavan starts talking about his main teaching. Now we have come to the creme de la creme, the real teaching of Bhagavan, that is inquiring into the mind. When we inquire into the mind, he says it is found to have no existence. The mind has no existence, and he says this realization is the direct path to Atman. It is a direct path to moksha, it's a direct path to realization. Knowing that your mind does not exist, right? So your number and enemy now we have, till now we have figured out. So there's only one enemy we have, that is our own ego. Now when we inquire, where is this thief? Where is this ego? Where is this enemy? This enemy does not exist. He says when you realize there is no enemy, the gates of the fort are open, the city is all yours. Mokshapuri. Mokshapuri is the city of moksha, is all yours. Right? When there are no enemies at the gate, right? The gate is open for you to enter the fort. Who can stop you? But we have to first see whether the enemy exists or not. Right? He says when you inquire into the enemy runs away. There is no enemy. Vrittayastvaham vrittim ashritaha vrittayo mana vidya aham manaha. Thoughts depend on the I thought, and the I thought is the mind. Know this to understand mind's nature. So what is the mind? It says mind does not exist. Mind is nothing but thoughts. See, mind is not a concrete thing. It is one thought, appearance of one thought, and then it disappears. And then appearance of another thought, it disappears. It appears and disappears. Thoughts appear. There are only thoughts. And what are thoughts arising from? Thoughts are arising from the I thought. What is I thought? I am thinking this, I am doing this, I don't like this, I don't like that. It is only coming from the perspective of this person, this individuality. I am seeing this, I like it, I don't like it, I want this, I don't want this. Look deeply into your thought process and see if there is another thing there. You see sunrise, you will not say it is sunrise, right? It is from your perspective. Wow, the sunrise is beautiful. Wow, sunrise is nice. Always there is something. When you see a person you love, oh my God, my daughter is here, my wife is here, my children are here, my children, my this, my that. Oh, his son is here, his father is here. There is always perspective. There is always the individual perspective in all thoughts. So the root of every thought is I seeing this thought, I experiencing this thought, I experiencing this world. So Bhagavan says without the mind is nothing but thoughts, and the thoughts are nothing but arising from I thought. The thoughts are nothing but I thought. I thought is itself the mind. And if you know this, you will understand the mind's nature. Aham manaha. Aham only is mind. Aham means ego. Ego is only the mind, he says. Because there is no mind other than ego. Everything is contained in this ego. The manas is contained in this ego. Aham is not in the mind. The mind is itself ego and it is contained in this ego. Aham ayam kuto bhavati chinvata ai patatyaham nija vicharanam. And the I is inquired into, it subsides. This is self-inquiry. So this is verse 19, and in 19 Bhagavan's teaching is complete. Right? Bhagavan's main teaching, he took this birth in the human body to tell people about Atma Vichara. He gave the direct path. What is the direct path? Don't go around, beating around the bush. Don't go around the world, pilgrimages and yagnas and karma, all these things. This is what Shiva also told the Rishis. What did he say? Inquire into this I. When you inquire into this I, the I subsides. This is Atma Vichara. When you go to the root of the I, it is done. Where is the I? How can the I exist anymore? So he is telling the direct path for self-realization. When the I is inquired into, it subsides. I is ego. When it's inquired into, it subsides. This is self-inquiry. This is the path. Ahami nasha bhajya ahama antaya spuratirut swayam parama purna sat. So ahami nasha is the destruction of the I. Bhajya comes forth. Ahamahantaya as the real I. Spurati shines. Rit is heart. Swayam by itself. Parama Purna Sat. Parama Purna Sat. It is a beautiful way to express The self, it says the absolute. Parama is the absolute, supreme. Purna is complete, perfect. Sat is reality. When the I thought is destroyed through self-enquiry, the real I shines by itself in the heart as the absolute reality. Real I is what now? See, when we say I am doing this, I am doing that, this is the illusory I. This is the illusory self, which is a dot of consciousness. It is the dot in the state of consciousness. See, this individual, you are just a dot in the consciousness. When we say dot, I is the dot and I am this becomes the line. This becomes a line of thought. Right? I want this becomes a line of thought. I hate this becomes a line of thought. I is the dot. It is this individual consciousness. When you look at yourself, what are you in consciousness? You look at yourself, you will see that there is a spurna, there is some kind of an expression. In the state of consciousness, this ego is arising, falling, arising, falling. There is a certain quality to it. When we inquire into this, you will realize that it is not a limited adjunction. It is not a limited thing that exists in consciousness, but your consciousness itself. This consciousness expresses itself as I. So it's not two I's. It is this I is expressed to express eternity. And eternity is not something that lives for a long time, for millions of years. That is not eternity. Eternity is timelessness. Eternity is infinity. See, like how infinity is shown with that number 8. Similarly, the symbol of infinity is like a number 8. Similarly, I is expressed to, is written to show the eternal aspect of this Sat, right? Paramapurna Sat, right? When the I thought is destroyed, the real I shines forth. And this real I is not limited by adjunctions. I am this body, I am this mind, I am consciousness, I am Shiva, I am this, I am that. No. It is the Paramapurna Sat, complete perfection, no differentiation. It is what exists. Sat is that which exists. See, your life itself, you are not living, you are not a human body experiencing life. Your life itself, your existence itself, you are not living your life. Life not in sense of life and death, right? All the aspects are included in this life, right? Those are all expressions of this, they are the pulse of this life. So you are that life, you are the substratum of the universe, Paramapurna Sat. But for that you need to extinguish the limited adjunctions of the I. Then the real I shines forth. The real I is the self, is the Atman, is the Brahman. Idam aham pada bhanamantaram aham ilinaka apyalaya sattaya. When the I subsides, the reality remains undisturbed as the unbroken I. Right? So, but this I has to be destroyed. Once the limited adjunction is destroyed, the reality remains undisturbed. Because what is going to destroy it? See, the I appears as a disturbance in the ocean of Atman. In Paramatman, the bubble, I is a temporary bubble that appears. It cannot destroy it cannot, hide the ocean, but it appears as a bubble. Bubble is fake appearance. Similarly, this I, it is a illusory appearance in the ocean of Paramatma. Right? Even when the I subsides, the reality remains undisturbed as the unbroken I. The reality is undisturbed. Vigraha Indriya Pranadhitama Naham Ekasat Tajjadam Yasat. The body, the senses, breath, and intellect are not the self. Now Bhagavan starts talking about Gnana. He's not talking about the Gnana Marga. He's talking about the Moksha path. The path of Moksha. He's talking from the state of the realized Gnani himself. From his perspective, he's telling what is not the self. He's saying the body is not the self. The senses are not the self. The breath and the intellect are not the self. The one reality alone is real. All else is inert and unreal. Ekasat. There is only one truth. He says only one truth. Everything else is Jadam. Right? So the body, the senses, the intellect, the mind, the breath, whatever you say, they're all inert. They are not the self. The self shines by itself. Sattva bhashika, chitkva vetara, sattaya hi chit, chitya hi aham. That which illumines existence is consciousness. Existence is consciousness. And consciousness is aham. Chitya hi aham. He's saying consciousness is itself I am. Is aham. Aham, the true aham, the reality. Isha jivayor veshadhi bida sattva bhavata shuddham ekavat. The distinction between God and the individual is only due to form and intellect. Vesha is what you are wearing. You are wearing the body, right? Only the individual is only due to form and intellect. In essence, they are pure and one. Now he says, in verse 24, Bhagavan says, what is the difference between Manava, the one which exists as a human being, and God, who we call Ishvara? What is the difference between Jiva and Shiva? Right? It's only Vesha and intellect, right? There is no difference when it comes to, if you take out the form of the human, of the Jiva, if you renounce the form of the Jiva, then what exists? If you renounce this limited adjunctions of the Jiva, then only Shiva exists. Right? So now he's saying there are no distinctions except Nama Rupa, name and form. Vesha Hanataha Swatma Darshanam, Isha Darshanam, Swatma Rupataha. When identification with form is shed, the self is realized. The vision of God is the realization of the self. So realization of the self is the vision of God. So you want to see Parameshwara, you want to see Mahavishnu. You have to realize the self. Realization of the self is darshan of devatas, darshan of Paramatma. And Paramatma darshana is realizing the self. He is saying they are not two separate things. Right? So we get a darshan of, the real darshan of Paramatma. See, Bhagavan once said, the God which appears and disappears is no God at all. Like in the movies or in Puranas, you might see some Bhagavan appears and he gives boon to the disciples. So we also imagine that, oh, God will come, he'll give you darshan, he will show you his true form and then he disappears. The God which comes and goes is not true God at all. Because God is eternal. God is that which exists at all times. Right? It is not something that comes and goes. Anything that comes and goes is samsara. Anything that comes and goes is maya, is illusion. That which is eternal, that abidance, that which is always here. If it appears in the future, it will disappear. That which appears, disappears. So Bhagavan does not appear and disappear. Paramatma is not an appearance in consciousness, it is consciousness itself. Right? Paramatma darshanam is Atma darshanam. Seeing yourself, knowing yourself is having the vision of God. But for this, you have to shed the identification of the self with the body. I am this body. This is the Mula Papa. What is the Mula Papa? Means original sin. See, the original sin, concept of original sin is I am this body. I am this person. If I say I am this person, it is done. It is like telling it is like saying the God has been limited to the body. Right? Just look at yourself for a brief moment. This entire body is existing. You have no control over it. You can move your hands, all these things. But there are nerves, there is blood, there is so much in the body for the functioning of the body. And you have no contribution to this. You don't know what is happening. How many nerves you have in this, you don't know. The whole body is magical. Right? The whole universe is magical. I am talking, you are hearing. How is this whole experience happening? Right? So all these things, it is divine only. So even the one who is talking and the one who is hearing, why should we say this person and that person? That self is only speaking, that self is only hearing. There is no differentiation. When you look at the world like this, when you look at the universe like this, the identification is shed. Identification with the personal me, mine, I, mine. These are all just illusions, like the bubbles in the ocean. It has no separate existence. When that illusion is shed, then what remains? Only Paramatma remains. Atma samsthiti, swatma darshanam, atma nirdvayat, atma nishtatha. Abidance in the self is the realization of the self, rooted in its non-duality. There is no two. When there is no two, there is no me becoming and abiding in the self. See, in the beginning, which he talks about the mind, abiding in the heart. Now, when there is no two, there is no mind, there is no heart. When there is no mind, when there is no heart, when the ego disappears, there is non-duality only. It is Advaita, Shuddha Advaita. What else exists other than Paramatma? So only when Paramatma exists, what does it do? Abidance. You are existing as you are. Being as you are itself is abidance, is self-abidance. So when you shed the limited adjunctions of I am this body, I am this mind, I am this, I am that, right? Give up identification with the body, then the self, then abidance in the self happens, and realization of the self is abidance in the self. And there is no other way, there's nothing else, because it is rooted in non-duality. Non-duality is there is no other. See, there is no opposing force at all. Jnana varjita, jnana hina chit, jnanam astikim, jnatum antaram. Consciousness is free from knowledge and ignorance. What knowledge remains to know anything else? See, anything that is acquired, any knowledge, any information that is acquired, it is separate. Self-knowledge is not a acquisition of knowledge. It is realization of the truth. Right? It is free from knowledge and ignorance. There is nothing to be known. What do you have to know? Oh, I am this. What is there to know? Does any man say that I don't exist? Now, when you are sitting here, do you say, I don't know if I exist? I don't know if I'm here. You exist. Right? Any person, any child also knows of its own existence. This is only Mula Gnana. This is only the realization. Knowing I exist as I am. This is only abidance. This existence becomes something else. I exist and what am I? All these things, we complicate life and the mind goes and we create fake identities for ourselves. Abidance as that existence is itself Gnana. And that Gnana is beyond information, knowledge and ignorance. Nobody is ignorant of the true state. The self is never hidden. This is the biggest secret. See, Atma is never hidden. Nobody can say I am not realized. If anybody says I am not enlightened or I am not realized, only we are considering ourselves to be foolish and we are creating fools out of ourselves by saying that. Right? Because when I say I don't exist, I don't know who I am. How can we say I don't know who I am? You know who you are. It's just that it cannot be articulated in words. And you are not abiding as that. I is enough. I am this, that, complications arise. Kim Swarupam Itya Atma Darshanam Avyaya Bhavat Purna Chidatmakam. Realization of the self reveals it as indestructible, infinite. Purna Chit Atmakam. Infinite consciousness and bliss. Now we are scared. Continuously we are in fear. Because we are limited. We are temporary. So what is our role in this universe? Now we are existing, tomorrow morning anything can happen to this physical body, to our mind, and we are afraid something bad will happen, something good will happen. This is only duality. This is only samsara. This is only suffering. When you realize your own true state, then and that state there is no other. Then where is destruction in that? See, when you are Atma, when you are Paramatma Swarupa, when you are pure consciousness, Shuddha Atma, pure consciousness itself, you are infinity itself, you are eternal. When you are like this, then what destruction can come to you? Where is the destruction? When there is no identification with the body, there is no attachment to these limited adjunctions. See, you are limitless eternity without the other. Right? So you are Paramatma himself. Think of Mahavishnu. What is the fear in Mahavishnu's mind? See, when we see Mahavishnu reclining on Sheshanaga in Vaikunta, you will see a smile on his face. What is that smile for? Because he is indestructible. Why is he indestructible? Because he knows his own self. He knows he is what he is. And this is abidance in the self, right? It is beyond ignorance and intelligence. It is beyond ignorance and jnana, right? So realization of the self reveals your own self as indestructible, infinite consciousness and bliss. See, all the impediments to bliss, all the impediments to happiness are gone. What are the impediments to happiness? What can stop you from experiencing bliss in its fullness? See, limitless freedom is only bliss. Go beyond. All the pain in the world is caused by your own ego. When the ego ceases to exist, when the ego is destroyed beyond recognition, it can never lift its face again. Then what remains? And all the impediments to happiness is gone, then happiness remains, because happiness is our true state. Limitless joy, limitless bliss. Bandhana muktyatim param sukham vindati iha jiva tu daivikaha. The individual who realizes the divine self attains supreme happiness beyond bondage and liberation here and now. Telling, follow these paths, follow the methods that are given in Upadesa Saram. Destroy by self-inquiry, attain the self by self-inquiry, inquire into the root of the self. And the individual who realizes the divine self attains supreme happiness, param sukham, and it is beyond bondage and liberation. See, why does Bhagavan say it is beyond bondage and liberation? Why is it beyond liberation? Because liberation exists as long as you imagine yourself to be bonded. Right? If you think I am stuck, my life is stuck, I am unable to come out of this. If you imagine yourself to be in bondage, then liberation exists as long as you imagine yourself to be in bondage. But the supreme reality is that there is no liberation, there is no moksha. Moksha for whom? See, for whom? Moksha. Who should attain the self? Who should realize the self? Who should attain enlightenment? The individual. Individual does not exist. The ego is an illusion. The ego is an I thought. The I thought does not exist. It is only an appearance in consciousness. It is a brief appearance in consciousness. When you inquire into it, you will see that it has no real substance to it. So when the number one enemy does not exist, then where is the bondage? For whom? There is no bondage. There is no bondage. Where is the sense of liberation? For whom? Enlightenment for you? For what? Who has to get enlightened? Right? There is no individual for enlightenment. There is no individual for liberation. So anybody who asks me also, are you liberated? Are you enlightened? Anybody, this is the answer. As long as I imagine myself to be in bondage, of course, I need to be liberated. But if I see myself as I am, as the self, then where is liberation? Who needs liberation? So enlightenment is false, liberation is false. There is no bondage. Bondage itself is an illusion. Aham apetakam nija vibhanakam mahad idam tapo Ramana Maharshi. With the ego destroyed, the self shines forth. This is the great penance. This is the great tapa taught by Ramana. So Bhagavan writes, when the ego is destroyed, the self shines forth. As simple as that. Sarala Chintanam. This is a simple path. Destroy the ego, the self shines forth. What else is left to do? This is the great tapas, as described by Ramana. He himself, this is a signature, Ramana Vakiyam. So he has put a stamp of authority on it. Ramana Vakiyam. He says, this is the simple tapas, this is the simple penance. Destroy the ego, attain the self, let the self shine forth. So this is the path of self-realization as taught by Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Right. So Muruganar first heard it from the lips of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. They wrote it down. It was written in Tamil first. Then it was translated by Bhagavan himself in Sanskrit and given to devotees freely. So for people who want to attain the self. And this is the truth that was uttered by Lord Shiva to the Rishis in Darukavana in Chidambaram. So we are blessed to have access to something like this. We are blessed to hear this. And any doubt you have on the path of spirituality, Upadesa Saram is enough to eradicate that doubt once and for all. Every word written in this, in Upadesa Saram, is the Upadesha or the spiritual teaching of Bhagavan. Bhagavan himself is Shiva. So no matter what path you are on, whether you are doing Tantra Sadhana, Mantra Sadhana, Atma Vichara, Vipassana, whatever you are doing, start where you are. Try to understand your own path in the light of Bhagavan's teachings. And there is no doubt that you will attain the self. There is no doubt that you have to take your path towards self-inquiry, and through self-inquiry destroy the root of the mind, and by destruction of the root of the mind you will attain the self. There is no doubt about this. So I hope you realize the self and attain Paramasukham.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe for more. With grace and gratitude, see you next time.